Hey there, thanks for joining me today. This is Laura Lynn with Keep Inking Up. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up in San Antonio, Texas. And a couple of days ago, I posted this card on my social media, and I had a couple of people ask me how I did this background, and they actually requested a video. So this video is for Emily and Janice, who liked this card so much. This background is called the Bokeh Technique, and it's reminiscent of the term in photography, which means kind of like blurred background. I hope I'm getting that correct. I'm not a photographer, but you can kind of see how these little circles kind of blur the background a little bit. So anyway, I wanted to share how to do this in the stamping world. So I'm going to set this aside. And to do this, you can do this on any cardstock, any size cardstock, any color, but I am going to start with a piece of our Whisper White, not Whisper White, Basic White. We don't have Whisper White anymore. Our Basic White cardstock. This happens to be 4 by 5 1/4, so I can use it on a background, on a card like this. And I am going to use 3 different colors. I'm going to use Bumblebee, Magenta Madness, and Pumpkin Pie. You can use any colors that you would like, and I will share at the end of the video a sample where I did use different colors. It's whatever colors you would like as far as this goes. This is just creating a background before we do the actual technique. So I'm going to start with Bumblebee ink. I'll open this up, and I am going to add color onto my cardstock using our blending brushes. I love these blending brushes. I believe I have 12 of them, and I've labeled them for every color type. So I have a yellow brush. So this works for my Bumblebee, my Daffodil Delight, my Mango Melody, any of the yellows, so Saffron, any of the yellows that I have. So I don't have one brush for every single ink color that I own. I have one for every kind of color. So I like to start with my lightest color when doing any kind of blending. So I'm going to load up my brush with the Bumblebee ink on here. And I have a piece of scratch paper below. This is my grid paper for my Stamparatus. And I'm going to start on the scratch paper, and I'm going to pull the ink onto the paper, and I'm just going to swirl it so it's a nice even soft blend, and I will keep adding color till I get it the darkness that I would like. And it's okay if you've got a little splotch like that. We're going to be adding more ink and the actual Bokeh Technique in a little bit, so don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfectly blended, but you just keep adding the ink color as much as you'd like. Ooh, I'm getting a little bit of ink on there from my fingers, but that'll be okay. I've got some, we'll be covering that with a darker color. So you just keep building up color, and I'm going up about 1/3 of the way because we're going to add the other 2 colors on here. And okay, let's say that's good for now. Like I said, I've got a little bit of that, but that's okay. We're going to be adding more ink, and so the next color will be the Pumpkin Pie color, and we can come back and add more to that color if we would like. So I'm going to grab my orange brush. And again, my orange goes for any kind of the oranges that I have, maybe the Pumpkin Pie, the Calypso Coral, any of my orangey colors I will use with this particular brush. And again, I'm going to start off the paper, and I'm going to come on. And I'm going to blend all the way across. You can see hopefully we'll cover those little marks up. And we'll go up again about 1/3 of the way. And I keep adding more color. There we go. In the middle of the paper there, I do think that I want to go ahead, well, I'll wait till I add the other color. So my last color that I'm going to add is Magenta Madness, this really pretty pink color. This is one of our new in colors for the next 2 years, a really bright pink. So again, I have a pink brush, and this can work for any of my pink colors. So I'll start off my page, and I'm going to again go onto my cardstock. And you just keep swirling and blending. And I keep adding more color. This is a bit messy. You can see I'm getting ink everywhere. That's okay. That's kind of the fun part about stamping, is getting inky. Any kind of creating is going to be kind of messy. And then you can go back without adding any color and just blend between those colors if you'd like. I do think I'm going to add a bit more of that bumblebee. I think it's a little bit light. So I'll close those up. I get the yellow back out. Grab my yellow brush. I've just labeled them to help me. And we'll just add more yellow. I think I need to darken that up quite a bit. But you can do it however you'd like. Again, this is not the actual bokeh technique. This is just adding color. So I just wanted to be a little bit darker yellow. And at some point, we've just got to say that's good enough. I think that's a pretty good blend. So I've got all of those colors across there. And again, you can use any colors that you would like. Next, I have, using a window sheet, I have cut out a little template, and I used my layering circles dies to cut out. Oh, hopefully you can see. Let's see. Can you see those? Hopefully you can see I have 4 different size circles that I have cut out of this piece of window sheet, and I did write the word top on it so I knew which side that I will always use for my stenciling purposes. And next I'm going to bring in our white craft ink, and I'm going to put a little bit of our ink refill on one of my clear blocks. Now you can use the white ink pad with this, and I did that before this way, but I felt this was a little more convenient way of doing it. And I'm going to take a sponge dauber, which just is a little sponge that you can put on your finger, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of this ink, and we might need to add more, but I'm going to pull that up onto my dauber, and I'm going to put my stencil. We're just starting right now, so I'm going to put my stencil on my cardstock that I've colored, and I'm going to swirl the white ink into that circle. And we're going to do our best to keep the stencil down on the paper and fill in that circle. And the important thing is to get the circle shape. And we're just adding a thin layer of this ink. And when I pull this up, you'll see that I have that circle there, okay? And now we'll just move this stencil around and keep adding more ink with different size circles. And we'll just add as many or as few as you want of these circles. And you can go around however you'd like, all over your paper, all over the colors. Now you'll notice some of the ink color is getting onto my dauber, and that's actually why I didn't want to use my ink pad again. I got my ink pad kind of stained with the ink. It's picking up the ink that I've put down on this paper. So we're just going to keep adding more and more ink of the white ink, holding the stencil down as best as we can while we're creating these circles with this white craft ink. This ink does take a while to dry, so you want to be careful. And you'll notice that I overlapped some. It looks like I need to add some more ink on my block. This does use quite a bit of ink. When you order the white ink pad, you get the ink refill and an empty ink pad. So it's good to have this refill for this purpose so I don't damage my ink pad anymore. And let's see, I'll put another circle here. I'm going to overlap again. See if I can hold the paper and the stencil down at the same time. It can be a little touchy sometimes, but it's okay. This is a handmade project, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And it's going to be a background anyway, so it's not the main focal point. This is just a background technique. We'll lift that up. You can see all these circles happening. Another thing that you can do is simply use the dauber. It's a circle as well. So I'll grab some ink, and then I'm just going to smush down and make a circle. A small circle, and I'll do the same over here. And we'll do another one here. And you can keep adding as many or as few circles as you want. Let's go ahead and add some over here. Looks like we need to add some circles. And it'll be different every time. Now this ink is really sticky. It will take a while to dry, and when it dries, it will soften quite a bit. Let me pull back in my card sample so you can see how it really softened. This is really dark right now, but it will soften really smoothly, so you can see that. Hopefully you can see that. So a bit busy, a bit messy, not busy, a bit messy right now, but hopefully you can see how that's working. You just keep adding as many circles or as few circles as you want, and you'll get that really cool background. You know, I think I definitely need to have more circles on this one. I'm gonna need more ink. Okay. Let's see. I think, let's add a circle right here. Oops. There's no specific order that you need to do. It's just whatever you'd like. You just keep adding circles. More and more circles. Let's add a sponge dauber circle right there. And you just keep adding however you'd like. And let's see. So I think that's good. I'll let this dry before I add it to a project. It is really wet. Look at my fingers, they're all messy too. I did want to share though that you don't have to use these specific colors. Here's another sample that I did using Night of Navy, Bermuda Bay, and Balmy Blue. So that creates a really nice kind of beachy background, a watery background, and so I'll add that to a card. So anyway, this is the Bokeh Technique using your white craft ink and a sponge dauber with a circle stencil that you can create yourself, and just adding circles to create a really soft background. Again, this is the card that started it all, that had the special request for a video. So if you would like to see anything in particular in a video, I am certainly open to suggestions. Thank you so much, Emily and Janice, for requesting this video. I hope that you learned how to do this particular technique and use it on a project really soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.